In one of the worst clashes between India and China in decades, 20 Indian soldiers, including an Indian commanding officer, martyred at the Galwan Valley. This while China launched an unprovoked attack on our braves in between de-escalation that was happening along the line of actual control in Ladakh. External Affairs Ministry has said that the Chinese side departed from the consensus to respect the line of actual control in the Galwan Valley. Meanwhile, defiant China has confirmed that casualties happened but is silent on the numbers. However, as per Indian Army, Chinese side suffered 43 casualties, including dead and those who got seriously injured. Following this violent face-off, India's border with China and Himachal Pradesh has been put on high alert. And that's the big focus that we have for you this morning on Times Now Live. My colleagues are joining us from different parts of the country. We have Mir Farid, we have Pradeep Datta and Mohit Bhatt as well. Good morning to all of you. Pradeep, let me begin this discussion with you. Now we are being told that India's border with China in Himachal Pradesh specifically has been put on high alert.
Yes, in fact, the border is put on high alert, reason being that Himachal has got a border with China. There is an area called Lahul Spiti, so they have to be on alert because one can't trust China. Already we have seen that China has backstabbed India. There was a consensus that there will be a disengagement from their side, what they did when Indian troops had been there to check the compliance of the disengagement on the line of actual control. Instead of just moving back, what they had done this in a very uncivilized manner. No civilized army will ever indulge in such a brawl where they, with the clubs and stones, they started targeting our men. CO and many others lost their lives. And this has happened after a long time. In 1975, last time we saw in Tungla, when 4 of the ITBP officials were ambushed by the PLA army. And earlier in 1967 also there was a firing in Nathula Pass. So it has happened after a long time because China can go to any extent of expanding their territory as well as their interests. And India's only interest is to safeguard their territory and maintain status quo. That is what actually Ministry of External Affairs also said, that China was unilaterally trying to change status quo and had this scrupulously, in fact, adhered to whatever had been discussed during the agreement. This thing would not have happened, but they didn't do so because they wanted to expand their territory. What China is doing, see, first China grabbed our land. This is in fact the China is master in deceit, deception and diversionary tactics. When I say deceit, first they came to our place, they occupied the land, and later on when they had to go back, what they try to do is they try to in fact instead blame India for crossing the line of actual control. While as if you look at the situation on the ground, it's the China that is occupying the Indian territory. So what aggressor is trying to do, aggressor is trying to play a victim card, shifting blame on India for the world community to see that what actually is the position. Everybody can understand what China is up to and the kind of the games they are playing. So keeping in view all these things, right now the border in the Himachal Pradesh is on high alert. Even the troops are on high alert. But the best takeaway from the Ministry of External Affairs is that they are not going to back off. They, at any cost, they will ensure status quo in that region. That's the important message that has been sent by the Ministry of External Affairs to China at this stage.
Pradeep, requesting you to stay on with us. Our consulting editor Maroof Raza also now joining us on the broadcast. Maroof, I'll come to you in just a bit. Mohit Bhatt is live with us right now from the national capital. Mohit, can you tell us, are we likely to see any sort of a statement by the Defence Minister today? What kind of meetings are lined up?
Well, you see, we are right now standing outside the residence of Defence Minister, and in some time from now, I'll just show you the scenes around over here that he will be leaving his residence. You can see his convoy is ready. What we are getting to know is that Rajnath Singh will directly head towards the Defence Ministry, and there he has host of meetings lined up, and he might also meet the CDS again today and the chiefs of Army, Navy and Air Force. Remember, yesterday he had a detailed meeting with the CDS, and you can see Rajnath Singh has come out of his residence, and in some time from now, he will be reaching the Defence Ministry. And what we are getting to know is that in some time from now he has meeting schedules with the senior officials of the army because he is completely manning the situation as of now. And yesterday also he had meeting with S. Jaishankar, CDS chief, three chiefs of the army, Air Force and Navy, and now he has just left his residence, and in some time from now he will be directly reaching Defence Ministry, where he will be again monitoring the situation with the senior officials of the army and from the other forces. So clearly as of now now Rajnath Singh is in action. We have to wait and watch what exactly will come out of the meeting. Yesterday, when he had meeting with the CDS and also with the chiefs of the Army, Navy and Air Force, and then he had meeting with S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister. He also briefed about whole situation, what is prevailing in the Galwan Valley to the Prime Minister over the phone. So again, he has left his residence, and again, later in the day, meetings are scheduled. Back to you.
Okay, stay on with us, Mohit. Let me now go across to Mir Farid as well for more on this. Mir Farid, we believe that what happened in Galwan had some sort of an impact on the Srinagar-Ladakh highway as well.
Yes, that's right. We are at the Gagargir checkpoint. It's a place 10 kilometers from Sonmarg, which in many ways is considered to be gateway to China, beg your pardon, to Ladakh. Behind me, this is the checkpoint. Only essential services vehicles, locals who live in the vicinity are being allowed. But other than that, every vehicle is being stopped. As you could be seeing behind me, policemen checking and stopping every vehicle, and only those who are as part of the essential service or who live in the vicinity are being allowed. We have also been stopped here since morning, though we said that we are not going to Ladakh, but at least to Sonmarg, but even that is not being allowed. Though the local administration has a different version. They say that it is being done because of some other reason, but quite clearly it is because of this standoff and what's happening in Ladakh. Its tension is being seen here as well. These are precautionary measures if sources in the administration is to be believed, because a lot of army convoy movement really happens on this road, and of late in the last 10 days it has increased many folds. So probably it is in line with that that this highway as of now has been made out of bounds for civilian traffic, but quite clearly the shadows of what's happening in Ladakh on the frontiers can be seen in the hinterland as well. These are our precautionary measures, but speaking to locals here, they say that definitely in the last 10 days there has been increased army movement, and they can also really feel the tension in the air because of this standoff. But since yesterday, that really has reached an all-new level because of the combat situation and kind of casualties that we have witnessed on the line of actual control in Galwan Valley.
Right.
Back to you.
Farid, Mohit and Pradeep, requesting all of you to please stay on with us. We have Maroof Raza, consulting editor, joining us on the broadcast as well. We also have with us Major General G.D. Bakshi. Good morning to both of you, gentlemen. Maroof, to you first. When it comes to India's relationship with Pakistan, we know what the stand really is. But with respect to China, India has always been extremely cautious. Do you think, as the opposition is demanding right now, India needs to come out, with some sort of a statement? We need more clarity on what our terms are with China.
See, Hina, I'm not in favor of the flow of battles being decided on television screens. There is a difference between how much information should be given out in the public domain and how much should be retained by the policymakers. Because we all know that China not only monitors everything that is said by our channels, but they have a number of accesses to our phones and microchips, through microchips by which they are able to also understand how the mood is. So while national support is crucial for the troops on the ground and their morale, the government, I am confident, knows what it should be doing. Why? Because the armed forces, who are your primary source of information in situations like this, are extremely competent in wanting to be able to engage with them if the go-ahead is given. That's the first thing. The second and very important aspect is, it is not that China has us on the run. This whole concept of playing safe with China has emerged from the philosophy of Pandit Nehru and his times, when he went through a string of appeasement initiatives with the Chinese from the mid-1950s, and even at the height of the war in '62, India, and Krishna Menon in particular, his defense minister, was reluctant to use the Air Force because there was a view in South Bloc that using the Air Force would escalate the situation. Escalation, to my mind, and I think General Bakshi will agree, escalation to my mind is crucial to getting China to back off.
Okay.
China understands force. If you wag your tail in front of them and whimper, they will put more pressure on you. And there is a strategy available with the military commanders. General Bakshi is very conversant with that. This is the revolving door strategy and keeping the operations in a fluid state. The Chinese soldiers operate in fixed patterns.
Okay.
You change the pattern of responses and they get stumped. But at this stage, my only urge is to the government and commanders on the ground, don't hold back your pen anymore. This nonsense that we have peddled for 50 years or more of not upsetting the Chinese should be abandoned.
Okay.
This could be another turning point in India's foreign policy, where India then decides to take an aggressive stance against a country which can never be our friend, because they see us as the biggest impediment to their rise as a global power in Asia.
So you seem to indicate that perhaps what has happened at the Galwan Valley has the potential of becoming the watershed moment between India-China relations. While you were speaking, Maroof, Major General G.D. Bakshi also indicated that he wanted to say something. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Day before yesterday night,
Yes.
in the Galwan River Valley, has breached a very significant threshold. Please understand, last 53 years, there has been no major kinetic action on the India-China border, less that one ambush of a patrol of the Assam Rifles at Tolungla, in which 4 were killed. There has been no shot fired in anger in the last 53 years. Yes, there has been this pushing and shoving and boxing, and now which has graduated to iron rods and barbed wire wound on baseball bats and stones, etc. But day before yesterday night, what has happened is a sudden, crossing of a threshold. One colonel and 20 of our boys have been killed. They have attained martyrdom. Now this cannot be taken lying down. This is, and I fail to understand why China has been able to impose its paradigm that we will only fight with sticks and stones. Why do we spend 1,80,000 crore rupees a year on our weapons and personal arms and artillery and tanks, etc., if we are only going to fight with sticks and stones? This is amazing. It was okay if it was just a few scuffles and minor injuries, but this is now graduated to a lethality in which 20 boys, almost you've lost a platoon, and it is no small comfort that the Chinese have lost 43 or 47. Every life matters. Even one death is one death too many. And I think the time has now come to give China a clear message that enough is enough. We will not go along with this kind of a imposed tamasha which makes a spectacle of our armed forces in front of the whole world. We know how to fight. We have the arms, we have the equipment, we are well trained.
Right.
And our troops have the right to private self-defense.
Okay.
And they will be now allowed to use their weapons. This joke cannot go on. It will happen today, it will happen tomorrow somewhere else. Some more boys will keep getting killed. What nonsense is this?
Okay.
Look, let me remind you, this is very important.
Yes, sir.
Let me remind you that in 1967, we had a very similar situation.
Okay.
We had a very similar situation of dhakka, mukki, pushing, boxing, wrestling,
Right.
etc. And then how did it stop? In Nathula, there was a company which was laying the barbed wire. I have been on the ground there and I know every bit of it.
Yes, sir.
The company laying the barbed wire, they got into a scuffle with the Chinese. One of the Chinese very senior political officers got
Yes.
injured. He immediately withdrew his men back to his bunkers, opened the
Right.
loopholes, and he want us get the hell out of here or I'm opening fire.
Okay,
We
that's
thought
very,
ki
very
there is
important
no-
information that you're giving to us, Major General G.D. Bakshi. Our viewers have got the point of view of Maroof Raza as well as G.D. Bakshi, Major General G.D. Bakshi, on what has happened in Galwan. We'll discuss on the other side of the short break as to what are the options on the table for New Delhi to deal with this situation. Stay with us. We'll be back after a short break.